In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to do some simple unit conversions. The first question that I'll work through is converting from kilometres to metres. Whenever we're doing a unit conversion, we always want to know what our conversion factors are. And you can see I've written those down in the top right-hand corner in green. I've written that 1 kilometre is equal to 1,000 metres and 1 hour is equal to 3,600 seconds. So those are the conversion factors we'll need for these practice problems. So the first problem, converting 5 kilometres into metres. The first thing we want to do is always to write down what value we are starting with. So we're starting with 5 kilometres and we're going to multiply that by a fraction. And that fraction is going to be our conversion factor. But we need to decide which part of our conversion factor is going to be the numerator and which part is going to be the denominator. So I'm looking at this first conversion factor here. 1 kilometre is equal to 1,000 metres. And to decide whether my kilometres goes on the numerator, the top of the fraction, or as the denominator, the bottom of the fraction, I need to have a look at my starting value, my kilometres. So we can sort of read this as being 5 over 1 kilometres. And this kilometres is on the numerator side of its fraction as a whole number. So through this unit conversion, I'm wanting to cancel out this kilometres here that I've started with so that I end up with metres. In order to do that, the kilometres from the conversion factor needs to go in the denominator so that this kilometres can cancel out the kilometres that I started with, which means that my 1,000 metres goes in my numerator. I know that seems a little bit confusing, and that's because our first example is such a simple one, but it will hopefully become more clear when we start converting with two units of measurement in the second and the third example. Now the way that I would enter this into my calculator, I've got a 1 kilometre here. I can ignore that, so I would actually just put this as 5 times 1,000, which is going to be 5,000 metres. Okay. The second example, converting 5 kilometres per hour to metres per second, we're going to start off the exact same way. We're going to start off by writing out the unit that we've started with, and I'm going to write it out a little bit differently. I'm going to put my kilometres as the numerator and my hours as the denominator. It still says exactly the same. It still says exactly the same as what we've got here. I've just written it to actually look like a fraction instead, and that will help us when we're putting our conversion factors together. Because I'm converting two units of measurement, I'm converting kilometres to metres and hours to seconds, I now need to multiply it by two sets of fractions. So the first fraction I'm converting from kilometres to metres, and I want to do exactly the same thing as what I did in the first example. 1 kilometre is equal to 1,000 metres. In order to cancel out this kilometres here, I need to put the 1 kilometre from my conversion factor as my denominator, which means that my 1,000 metres is my numerator, and these two units of measurement will cancel each other out. My conversion factor for hours to seconds is 1 hour is 3,600 seconds. In order to cancel out my hours unit of measurement here, the hours actually needs to go as the numerator in this fraction. So 1 hour is on top, which means 3,600 seconds is my denominator there. So this hour cancels out with this hour, which leaves me with metres per second, which is what I'm trying to convert to. And rather than entering 3 fractions into my calculator, I can actually enter this into the calculator as 5 times 1000 divided by 3600, which will give me 1.4 meters per second. And the last example, we're doing the reverse conversion from 5 meters per second into kilometers per hour. We're applying the exact same logic to this question. We start off by writing out the unit that we started with, or that we were given, so 5 meters per second. I'm writing out as a fraction to help me decide where my conversion factors are going to go. I have 2 units of measurement that I'm converting, so I need 2 fractions to multiply by. Meters into kilometers, 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. In order to cancel out this meters, my meters have to go on the bottom here, so 1,000 meters, which means my 1 kilometer goes in the numerator position. If my seconds is the denominator here, then seconds need to be my numerator here, which means my 1 hour is the denominator. Meters and meters cancel each other out, seconds and seconds cancel each other out. So I'm going to have my final answer as kilometers per hour. And again, I don't have to put all 3 fractions into my calculator. I can simplify it when I enter it into the calculator to be 5 times 3600 divided by 1000, which is going to give me a value of 18 kilometers per hour.